There is this big misconception about visibility. And I think when people even hear of some of my programs, like my inner circle is called Visible, we get a lot of anxiety that happens because when you hear the word visible or visibility, your mind goes to video. Oh my God, Chrissy wants me to get on video. Chrissy wants me to be on video. Chrissy wants me to do video. That's what you think. And I don't know why my camera is not working right, but here we go. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. So visibility is so much more. And visibility is the perception and the way that you choose to show up, right? How you show up as yourself, how you show up as your brand, how people see you, the messaging, the things that you say. It's so much more than video. Video is a part of it, or maybe it's not a part of it in your brand and in your marketing, right? But number one, visibility is how people see you. How are they seeing you? Are they seeing you on social media? Are they seeing you on YouTube? Are they seeing you on stages? How are they seeing you? It's a huge, important piece to our visibility strategy. The second thing is how do people find you? Are you searchable? Like if I search for what you do right now, would your name come up? If I searched for a problem that you solve, would your name come up? And that does not mean just on Google. That means on YouTube. That means on social media. If I search hashtags, would you show up? It's a great question to ask yourself, because if I'm searching for somebody to solve this problem versus scrolling on social media and you just happen to show up, those are two totally different things. If I'm searching, I have a real issue right now and I need you to fix it for me. But if you're not showing up in that search, how are you going to support me? How am I going to know you can support me? It's a really good question to ask yourself. And I did a post on, or I did a video on being searchable last week, and you guys should definitely go check that out. If you want the link, I'll put it down here. Okay, how often are you showing up their feed, and how are you showing up in their feed? What type of content are you putting out, and how consistent is it? Two great questions, right? If we are putting out consistent content, which means we're giving a lot of value to our audience, they come to expect that, right? And then they really like, know, and trust us because we're so consistent and we're always there, and they understand that and they know that. So that's a question you get to ask yourself. Is that happening with you and your audience? You know the answer to that, yes or no, right? How often are you showing up in media, and how do you show up in media? And that doesn't mean necessarily social media. That means podcasting as a guest. That means articles, like, whether it's big name articles, whether it's blogs, whatever it is. How are you showing up in those types of media mediums, right? That's important. It's an important part of your visibility strategy, getting in front of other people's audiences. They've already established their audience. They're bringing you in to present on what you know about and what you're good at, right? And the next thing, how are you attracting others to you? What is your likability factor? Why do people want to work with you? Are they attracted to what you're putting out there? This is a great question to ask yourself. If they're not attracted to it, what can we do differently? Are we being vulnerable enough? This week we saw, last week we went to FHL, and Marcus Lemonese, I don't know if I said that right. One of the major things that he said, the reason entrepreneurs fell, and he has worked with so many entrepreneurs and he's I think he had a show called The Prophet on CNBC. What he sees the biggest problem is transparency and honesty. So are we being transparent and honest in our content with ourselves, right? That's something we get to ask ourselves. How clear and consistent is your messaging? Huge, right? What are we saying to our audience? How are we saying it? How are we delivering it? Huge. You can do a million things in your business, right? But if you literally talked about something different every single day for 365 days, is your audience confused? Yeah, they are. There's no congruency there. We talk about this a lot when it comes to ads. Like if I click on an ad and the landing page is totally different colors, different messaging. I'm confused because I feel like I didn't go to the right link. And most people won't convert because of that, even on a freebie. It's too confusing. It doesn't make sense. We get to be consistent. We get to be clear in our messaging, right? We need to keep that congruency there. How are you positioning yourself as the go-to expert? Meaning, are you giving so much value that people know exactly what you do? Now, this is where we get to get micro with our content and really think about, if I talked about visibility once a month, is that enough? No, it's not enough to position me as an expert. I weave the word visibility into every single thing I possibly can. I've talked about it for years. I've evolved in how I talk about it, right? So that is something we get to work on over and over and over in our messaging to position us as a go-to expert. How magnetic is your content? Again, is it attracting people? And it's okay if you're pushing some people away, because when we activate people, that can happen. But we don't want to be so-so. So-so and I like her. No, I want you. You either love me or you hate me. One or the other. Plain and simple. We got to pick a side here. You either really want to hear more what I got to say, or you're like, yep, done with that. Pick your poison, right? Okay, the next thing is, how easy is it to buy from you? Is there a clear path? Are there links everywhere? Does it say buy here? Does it say what's available now? Are you giving your audience an opportunity? Because here's what I have seen happen, and it's happened to me. People have found me on TikTok, fell in love with me there, went to Instagram, which is connected to my TikTok, literally consumed everything I had on Instagram, filled out my application for my inner circle. We got on a phone call. That's how I know all of this. And she literally took herself from a cold lead to a warm lead to a hot lead, just like that, and then became a client. Do you have that path for your audience? The next thing is, how obvious is it that what your offers do for your potential leads? Like, what problem is it going to solve? What do they get out of it? Is it clear, or is it confusing? And I want you to really think about this, because if it confuses you, even the slightest, it's going to confuse them. So we get to work on that with our messaging. The next thing is, how visible are you in your content? Meaning, how much of your content is actually you? Let's be honest. I want your IP, which is your intellectual property, which means I don't need to go Google this because it's all in my head, right? You know so much. Stop letting fear block you from putting that out there. Put yourself in your content. Don't give them Googleable information, because they can just go Google that. Why else work with you? Why else pay you, right? Pull the information from your brain and say it like you would say it. I did a whole video about that last week too. Say it how you would say it. It's your words, not Google's words, your words, okay? Not Wikipedia's words. Okay, how clear are your convictions to you? When I say visibility is I know getting uncomfortable, number one, I just talk about that a lot. Getting uncomfortable is huge to me. I know my life would have never been changed without getting uncomfortable. The uncomfortable act that I did was video, right? Visibility. Visibility is how I grew my business. Uncomfortable changed my life. Getting visible changed my business. Are we talking about these convictions? I'm very convicted about it. I can preach about it. I can talk about it all day long. I'm passionate about it because I know what it has done. I know it helps increase sales, and I know you have to know the person. I know it increases relationships. I know it feels like people know me, even if we've never actually met. That's what I know. How well known is your process and framework? So when we are visible and we're talking about, so I have the visible framework, which is my content framework, and I talk about it all the time. I don't give it all away online, but I do talk about how the content gets to be potent. The content gets to be passionate. The content is posted with a plan and a purpose. Like, it's not just content we throw up, right? Throw up and hope it sticks. We have a purpose, a plan. We're passionate about everything that we post. That is a well-known process. I have a visibility strategy. I have the visible framework. I also have the vision framework, which I don't talk about as much, but we learned that in my inner circle. So there's a lot of processes and frameworks that I have, and I talk about them. If you don't have one, make it up. Figure it out. Make it work for you. It's your process. How can we make it fun and call it something that your audience would understand? So as we can see, I did not say video in any of this, right? I said visibility. How are they seeing you? How clear is it, right? We think about visibility. How clear is the visibility? Is it foggy? Are they getting it? How visible? What does it look like? These are all visibility terms, right? And they're ways that we can show up, and how we show up for our audience is huge. So when you work on a really strong visibility strategy, it's going to have all these things and more. But these are the most important things that I want you to think about as you create your visibility strategy, as you create how you are showing up, as you create the consistency, as you create the quality and the quantity of how you're showing up for your audience. It's all important. It all comes together. It all starts with our content. It all starts with how we show up. That is what leads to sales. That is what leads to people buying. That is what leads to building relationships. That's what leads to raving fans. The question is, are you doing this enough in your content, in your showing up, in your consistency for your visibility strategy in your own world? If you're not doing this, this is something we get to work on. And if you ever need support with that, you know how to find me. It's Chrissy Connor. Like and subscribe, Chrissy Connor. I'm pretty much Chrissy Connor everywhere. Or you can always check out thevisibilityqueen.com and see what offers and what we have going on in the moment. I hope to serve and support you in some way, shape, or form, or that this video helped you, because that is my goal. I want you to be visible. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to get paid, my friend. And if you choose not to show up and not to share your message, you are doing a huge disservice to your potential audience, because they don't know what they don't know. So we get to show up and be ourselves and present what we have to offer to our world.